This is Angel Nolan on Slayman Tunes. I'm sitting here with Vices I Admire. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty well, thank you.
That's good. How did you come up with your name, Vices I Admire?
Man, well, that is... what did we do? Well, we at one point in time we were called Plan B, and discovered there were many different kinds of businesses also named Plan B, as well as a bunch of different bands. So we decided it would be smart to change our name, and so I came up with a whole list of different names, and that was the one that we all agreed on. So, and with that, it's from a Winston Churchill quote that says something to the effect of, he has all the virtues I dislike and none of the vices I admire. And so we all thought that was pretty cool, and we went with that. Of course, this was actually before either Dan or Alex were in the group. So I don't know nothing about that, but they've heard the story so many times they hate it.
So I just basically okay.
Yeah. In fact, you guys should probably tell the story, right?
How was Vices formed?
Oh, man, okay. I know, but it's been a while. Okay, well, 2002, I came to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, and was looking to accomplish two things. One was find a girlfriend, one was find a band. And I did find a band, but it took me quite a bit longer to find a girlfriend. And when we started that band, it was Plan B. Mickey Dollar was in it. He's been our guitar player up till 2012. And Mark Town was in it. He was the drummer up until 2012. And at the time, Robert Marston, the bassist at the time, was in it. And he was in the band up until 2008, before Dan replaced him. And then we played a bunch of shows, released 3 albums, Plan B, Politics of Apathy, and Venom Pride. And then 2012, Mickey and Mark left to be replaced by Mr. Alex Simpson here on drums and Tavis Alley on guitar. Then we released then we wrote a couple songs. Tavis Alley left in 2013 on guitar. And we decided to continue forward as a 3-piece, and we released Fables in early 2013 as a 3-piece. And that's been us ever since. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, not too bad. Yes.
With just the 3 of you, what was it like for the 3 of you to perform for the first time?
Oh, well, and even as a 3-piece, we still have a guitar player. We still have a 4th guitar player, that is, who joined, or 4th. We have a 2nd guitar player, a 4th member, excuse me. We have 4 guitar players on stage. That'd be crazy. I like having your smiling face right there, because I feel like you're laughing at everything I say. Makes me feel much more hilarious than I am. But yeah, there are 2 guitar players, or 2 guitar parts, that is, and we usually have a 2nd guitarist join us on stage. Lately, it has been Mr. Scott Yule of, he's actually in a few different bands here locally, Glass Delirium, Tattooed Strings, and he plays in a couple cover bands as well, so he's a busy dude. But we're kind of keeping our eyes and ears open for other options, because we do need a 2nd guitarist. But the first time that the 3 of us played together, I suppose, what was that? That was like our comeback show in September of 2012, right? No, it was a comeback show there's the 3 of us. I was gonna say, because the 3 of us played together with Tavis.
That was at the Marquee.
Yeah, at the Marquee Theater, and that was great. So it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a great show. Lots of people there. Everybody was excited to see us come back, as it were, because it was about 6 months since we had played a show, with the last show being the farewell show for Mickey Dollar and Mark Town, so everybody's excited to see us come back. But then our first show without Tavis, where we had a hired gun at guitar, was our CD release, April, I want to say...
May.
May. Was it May 3rd?
May 3rd, yeah.
May 3rd, 2013, over at the Moon Room. That was a great show. That was a lot of fun. And it was awesome. It's been great. I mean, we've played together quite a bit, and we played a lot of shows, so... And each of us was even previously, well, I shouldn't say that because I've only been in one band, but these guys have been in a couple different bands. And Alex specifically has been in a long tenured band, 2 different bands.
Left them both in ashes.
One actually went on tour through Europe. I remember when we were looking for a drummer, he was one of the first ones to approach me about the position. We put up ads everywhere. He actually found us through the ad on Craigslist, and he approached me with an entire press kit. And in that press kit, he included, all the previous bands he'd been playing with, basically his resume, and the band that he had been playing with before us. At first, because he played in a second band before us, but the really large band, not the other one isn't, but the large band Leviathan had been on tour through Europe. They're like a heavy metal band. Is that a fair description? Yeah, heavy metal. And they had toured through Europe, so he told me, in his resume, in his press kit, as it were, that he sent me, which was already impressive, because I was like, wow, who actually sends this kind of stuff? Usually people in bands are like, yeah, man, I play some music, and I love making noise, things like that. But he had everything prepared. He even had, like, press shots. And I was like, oh, that's really wild. So he called, and I was like, well, I just hope you're not bored with us, because he'd already been to Europe and back and all around the place, so... pretty extraordinary, and of course he is a very extraordinary drummer.
Dan, I know about your last band, but I've actually never ever asked you if you've been in a band before them.
Not particularly, no. I think that's the majority of what I've done is that band. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I've been in little bits and pieces, done music, obviously, but that was definitely my previous one, which was the Fray. Actually, it was a founding member of the band.
I've just never ever asked you anything about your origins. Dan is a mysterious fellow. I'm not sure where he's from.
Some people think I'm from outer space.
He's mysterious, but yeah, he was in the Fray. He doesn't talk about it much, so don't ask him. But
so I helped start the band. I named them, and
you won't like him when he's angry.
I'm not entirely sure that the whole dissolution of that relationship was on a amicable terms, but it is what it is. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So since we were on that topic, what is your favorite venue that you have played at?
I know. My favorite venue. I've got fond memories of a bunch of different venues here locally. Let me think. Probably the coolest venue. Man, I don't know. There's every venue has some pretty cool points. I love the stage at the Gothic. And I love the feel of the room at the Marquee. I don't know. I think that the Gothic tends to always be a great time. Bluebird's also a nice stage, but I think Gothic Theater I'm going to go with. I like the actual... I like the stage. I like the feel of the venue. I like the lights. Everything's usually nice there, and I've always had a great time. The booker, the ownership, the people who run sound and lights, and the bar back there, they're all very, very professional, very easy to work with. Not that any other venue isn't, but the Gothic Theater, fantastic job. I love those guys. I'm going to go with Gothic, although I've had great times everywhere. How about you?
There's a couple of venues I always think of as being like venues that we've played some of our best shows in, like the Larimer, for example, which I would have never thought, But I think Gothic is absolutely, it's a huge stage and it's a huge venue, and you're way above everybody, and then there's a separate drum riser for the drums, and being up there and being like the biggest venue in town. I think I've played there 6 times since I moved to Denver, and I tend to lose my shit on the drums when I play there because I get really amped up by really big venues like that. So the Gothic is definitely like the coolest place to play when there's a good crowd. Yeah.
You better say Gothic, Dan.
Okay, I definitely like the Gothic. I won't disagree on that one. When you're playing to a full stage, Gothic is good. Bluebird's great, and what's that one downtown called? I keep forgetting.
Marquee?
No, it was
Summit?
Yeah, Summit Music Hall. When you're playing on the main stage and it's full, that's pretty cool too. That can be really cool. And so, I think that I don't necessarily have one in particular. There's ones that I don't like, but seems to be like the ones that we've played the majority of our time at have great sound, good energy, as long as you have good connection with the crowd and there's enough people there to make it worthwhile. And it really, I think it has to do more with people.
What he meant was the Gothic Theater.
Like we said, Gothic theater all day.
So all three are in accordance with the Gothic.
They're all great. I mean, I've had a great time at all the venues for sure.
Bad times.
We've had some bad times. We've definitely had some shows where it's like, oh my gosh. But I think every band goes through that. Usually those bands get to go through that out of state. We've had a lot in states. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. I read on your Facebook page, since you've already mentioned Tavis Ali, because you have like the second guitarist for when you're on live shows, and I know that you've had people that have played. Who is your favorite person that has played with you?
Oh wow. Yeah, brutal. I would, I mean, it kind of depends on when they're around. I mean, everybody's been fantastic. We've had phenomenal shows with Tavis. We've even had shows recently with Mickey, the original member.
Different things.
And they're all very interesting. And it's not as if the parting of ways with Tavis or with Mickey, for that matter, wasn't amicable. It was. They left for their own reasons. Tavis to pursue something with Tim Moon in Ohio, and Mickey Dollar because you just get fed up with doing the same thing, and he wanted to do something else with his life, which makes sense because obviously the music industry is difficult. And Scott Yule is amazing. He's a phenomenal player. Plays very well. Stage presence is excellent. So I don't know. I really, and very honestly, and not to be diplomatic, but it would be very difficult for me to pick the best. Of course, I have the most experience with Mickey, so I suppose, just in the interest of like giving you a side, I would say I love Mickey Dollar, and every time I get a chance to be on the stage with him is absolutely outstanding.
Mickey Dollar has an incredible stage presence. If you've ever seen a show with him, he's I don't know how he plays and moves as much as he does. It's crazy. But being able to choose would be like would be kind of like trying to choose your favorite kid, I think. To be honest with you.
Touché.
Yeah. So yeah, that might be. Yeah.
I actually know. I love all of them. Tavis has a very thoughtful approach to guitar, and he was always a blast to play with. And Scott Yule is like, when Scott's on stage, nothing's going to go wrong, and you know it because he's such a professional, and he's in so many bands. And he was a fan of Vice's before he was playing with us, so he knew some of our songs, so he was easy to break in. And he's, utterly confident with his parts, and he's always like, you always tell him like after the show, dude, that was incredible, and he's like, oh man, I wasn't feeling it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You were great. Anyway, and then Mickey is a blast for me. I always look forward to playing with Mickey because, like they said, he's outrageously energetic. He jumps like 5 feet every couple notes that he plays, and he's all over the place, and that really amps me up. So yeah, I love playing with all of them.
Yeah, you really can't beat them. We got pretty lucky as far as that goes. Now we just need like a member.
Well, that actually leads into my next question. For that spot, who would you like to see in that position? Like, if you could have anybody be a guest anytime, anywhere on your live show, who would it be?
Either Alex Lifeson from Rush. Wait. You mean like celebrity guitarists too, or like local guitarists?
Yep. No, anybody. Famous anybody.
I'd personally have to think about that.
That is really interesting. That's an interesting question. I'm going to think while you answer.
Oh, damn. That's what I was going to do while you had the microphone first. No.
That was a good answer, though, being a Canadian. You picked Rush. Yeah. Nice.
Thanks. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. Here, why don't you answer while I think?
Let's see. Dave Grohl would be awesome because he can play guitar and he can sing as well. So it'd be nice to have those two things. Plus Grohl's goofy face on stage is always nice. I'm not sure. I guess we're gonna probably be answering this for a long time.
I like the guitarist from Radiohead, the dude with the long black hair, covers his face, the skinny, weird, vampire-looking guy.
Yeah.
He's got crazy mojo going on stage, and he's obviously genius. I think he would be cool to work with.
He would hate us, though.
You would hate our music. You would absolutely despise us.
He probably does. He's probably watching this right now, or listening, or hearing. He's not. This is pre-recorded.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I know. It's one guy. You think.
Up now.
Yeah.
Here, I'll hold that thought. In the meantime, Dan's going to recite poetry for you.
I was going to try to do the only thing that pops into my head, which is the Jabberwocky, which I mince compared to Dave. So I think I might give it back over to Dave because he does it even better than I do.
Well, we can always just move on. That's fine.
Johnny Greenwood.
Johnny Greenwood.
We're going to go with Johnny Greenwood, I think.
Okay, so you guys, all three of you agree with Johnny Greenwood?
I would say probably Jack White would be a lot of fun too. He's got a good stage presence and can sing sort of and play as well. So he could be a lot of fun. Yeah.
So controversial.
So growing up,
takes a lot of time.
what are some of the influence that you have growing up?
Mine are all directly from the grunge scene, really, growing up. But honestly, I've done a lot more of my musical investigations the older I've gotten. But yeah, growing up, definitely 90s grunge scene, man. And I think you can kind of hear it, honestly, in the way that I sing and maybe even some of the way I design my lyrics, I would think. I would assume anyway. So, but yes, that's what I'm familiar with. That's what I love. And so you kind of hear it infiltrate here and there, I believe.
I always jump straight to telling people that I'm kind of a prog rock, progressive rock nerd, which I am. And so when I started getting serious about drum set, that's pretty much all I did was learn like Dream Theater albums and Rush albums and Spock's Beard and Transatlantic and stuff like that. And I did that, but I was also like the only junior high school kid that I ever met that was knowledgeable and listened to a lot of Steely Dan too. And my dad had a lot of like R&B influences with me, like Steely Dan and Prince and pop and stuff like that. And then I also did marching band and drum corps, so I came from kind of a marching, regimented, rudimental sort of drumming background. So mix all that together, and that's kind of what my sound is. It's a lot of weird stuff. It shouldn't go together like that. Batman?
Hi. I think I agree with Dave.
Hello.
I am dead. Yes, I am. Okay, so I've done more of my musical investigations in later in my life as well. So I find it's going back to what I used to listen to. I mean, I listened to some awful butt rock when I was younger because my older brother influenced me on that. I still got butt rock like Breaking Benjamin's new butt rock. I'm talking about like butt rock from like the 80s and 90s. So like I guess Queensryche is a little bit on the edge of butt rock. Yeah, Queensryche is pretty good. Yeah, okay, but then you get into more of that like glam butt rock thing like
what? Scorpion?
Yeah, stuff like that. And so I've had some of that. I've had some influence from Metallica, virtuosos like Steve Vai, things like that have been interesting, but not really a lot of fun to listen to, but educational. So, yeah, but there are. Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan was actually pretty influential on my electric guitar style. Bass has been a different animal entirely, but and since I play bass with this band, obviously that's. I guess the guitar style goes a little bit because I've been playing a little bit of guitar since we don't have that on the recordings, but. Yeah, so that's not the big thing, though. I think, I don't know. It'd be a lot of, some of that 90s stuff. Chili Peppers have been a big influence on me, for sure. Yeah, they've been a big influence on everything, so, yeah.
There's a difference between what you listen to, like what you get into, like later on, and then what you actually, like, started learning. And I feel like what you started with, like, shapes you almost more. And the rest of that stuff shaped you periodically and temporarily. But what you actually got into originally is probably what you end up kind of sounding like.
I think so.
That's why I named stuff that I was listening to in like junior high.
I think so. That's why I always talk about my grunge influence because it's there. It's there, I mean, it's undeniable. And certainly not that. It's true. Because I used to, I used to weep to it when I was a kid. So
I might be the exception to that rule. I feel like the stuff that I've been studying lately has been influencing my style more. Yeah.
I mean, like your overall, the sound that you sound like now was shaped earlier on, right?
Yeah. Well, definitely the core fundamentals of what you sound like. Yeah, definitely those influences.
I feel like all my playing is really linear because I was like Neil Peart, Mike Portnoy, stuff like that, like really linear prog style. So I try to push myself to listen to stuff that's like jazz influence, but it's really hard to pull it off.
Awesome. So I guess you've already answered one of my other questions. Do you think that the music that you listen to is incorporated in your current music? And since we have touched on that, I also read on your Facebook page that you said that there was a difference between the first two albums and your third album, Venom and Pride. How were you able to adjust the difference between the two? Like to embrace the difference?
I'd like to say that I think you're one of the most informed interviewers we've ever had.
I will second that too, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Which, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's obviously, the bio's there, and it's not like it's extraordinarily long, but you think it was like asking a lot of people to just glance through it, because a lot of times people are just stunned, like, woo? I don't know.
What do you call your band? What is it like being a new band?
Oh, it's insane. So well done. Let me applaud you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you also. Thank you very much. And, okay, I believe you had some kind of question about the Venom Pride. Okay, what was it like? You said, what was it like, the difference, and how do we feel about playing it? Is that right? I'm sorry.
How did you adjust?
I apologize.
Like, I know that you've gone through band members and stuff, so there would always be that difference, but how have you adjusted from the first two compared to Venom and Pride?
Okay, so Venom and Pride was the lineup that we had on Venom and Pride was me and Dave, and it was the original too. So we had Mickey and Mark on drums and guitar, and so it was still the core tenets of the band that we recorded on, as far as the Politics of Apathy goes. But when I came into the band, Politics of Apathy was 6 months later or something like that we recorded. So I came in and learned and helped develop as much as I could, but it wasn't quite as much of a coherent, copacetic, I guess you could say, centrifuge of this particular group. And Venom and Pride was more of that centrifuge of me as a bass player, and Mickey and Mark and Dave. So it was definitely, I think that it differed for me. It differed in that way, that it gave us a chance to develop that music more as a group. So,
yeah, Venom and Pride, I've always thought was kind of an interesting album. If Fables is the one that the three of us were, that was the one we released most recently in May, and that one is very different. I feel, at least, from everything else. But Venom and Pride is an interesting album because, and I'm not sure it's Mike. I've spoken to Mickey and Mark very long about it, but they've both seen the bio, and it's something to the effect of it was written essentially maybe not purposely and not consciously perhaps, but I feel like in some ways Mickey and Mark's, they had one foot out the door kind of thing. And I think in some ways it translated to rehearsals during that process, and the music writing during that process, and of course the recording during that process. So I feel like Venom and Pride, I honestly feel like that's one of our darker efforts, if I could say that without sounding terribly cheesy, but I think it is. I think it is dark. The lyrics, for me anyway, especially like To the Union, even Forever, I feel like are just a lot darker. So is Hero, for that matter, and Stay Away, obviously. So yeah, never mind. I feel like it's a pretty dark album. I loved it, but there was something there, and it was a surprise in most ways when they quit the band. That was a hell of a day, but I wasn't completely surprised. We kind of all, we saw it coming. It was difficult leading up into then. So yeah, dark album. It was hard getting through the writing process, hard to write it, and sometimes it's hard to listen to, especially The Union. The Union's a hard song for me. What do you think about Venom Pride?
Same. No, really, it's a little bit shorter, but it's a bit darker, and I don't know. Some of my favorite songs are off that. Forever is incredible. Hero has consistently been one of my top 3 favorite Vices songs. And yeah, I don't know. There is kind of a difference between that and Politics of Apathy, but I think having that lineup with you two and Dan sounded very similar to me through both of them. It just, the two records have a very different feel, and yeah, I like both of them. I don't have much to add.
And actually, Dan's doing a remix of The Union right now, which should be out here pretty soon. It's really very different, but it's very cool. It's very cool. I'm impressed. And a very different feel. And then I think it would bear speaking a little bit to Fables. which is also an interesting album, in as much as one song, Only Me, was written in some ways by like everybody.
There's like 3 lineups on the album. Only Me was written by you guys before Tavis and I joined and finished when Tavis and I were in the band, so it's like 6 people wrote it. And that one turned out very interesting. And then a couple of the songs were us 3 and Tavis, and then a couple of the songs were just us 3. So there's like 3 different incarnations, 6 people in all. So there's a lot of variety all over that record. It's not one fluid like we all wrote this in a month kind of thing. It was put together over time, which is really cool. You get to hear a lot of different sides of Vices I Admire in that record.
Yeah,
Something for everyone.
and we recorded that whole album here too, just at our Vice Studios, which you can see a little portion of right here. But we recorded
Very
everything.
nicely set up.
Yeah, there it is. And it was exciting for us. In some ways, we kind of had to do it because we didn't really have any money, and also because we wanted to release something and show ourselves as well as everybody else that we were, could still release music and could still write. So I think that was somewhat of a question since we'd been shedding members. What seemed like every year we were losing somebody else. It was like, oh my God, what's going on? And Dan did all the engineering on that album. So I don't know. I love Fables. I think it's really cool. You're never finished with an album, so you can still go back to listen and go, damn, I wish there's something else they did different there. Dan does all the time. But from, I think it's a fantastic album, and I still get the same kind of pleasure I get from listening to all of our older works too, where occasionally I'll just listen to something off of Plan B and go, wow, yeah, we did that, and that's incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting for me to be approaching potentially doing these remixes. Like I connect more with the lyrics whenever I pull something apart or if I'm working on it more. Like when we were recording Fables, I connected more with the lyrics because I was working with them, and I was able to be more involved and invested in like the recording process of them. So it's been really cool to reconnect through some of these older works, especially the Union. So far, the Union, I should say, with the remix, just really kind of like, wow, that's awesome. I knew these were cool lyrics, but man, if you listen to Dave's lyrics, you read them through it, you can read them and you can listen to them 100 times and never get everything out of it, and it could be something completely different every time too. But that's what's so cool is the dynamic of his lyrics are just amazing, and that's been really cool. I don't know if I got to tell you guys, but yeah. So
That's very nice of you to say.
That's always been the case since like their first stuff came out. But Fables to me was really cool because you have Wicked Sun, the first track off it, which was very much kind of the 3 of us. And that sound of that song sounded to me like the next step, that Vices needed to take sound-wise. And it was a great accumulation of a bunch of different efforts. Anyway, I love that song. And Only Me, like we already talked about, was written by like everyone that's ever had anything to do with Vices, except for maybe Rob. But that one is an incredible track. Come Home was also us 3, and that one was cool. Orion was awesome because there was a little bit of prog influence in there, which I always rejoice. And it was really pushing our limits as far as playing and everything. It's a very complex song, but we pulled it off. Last Chance, very poppy. It's just the record's all over the place. There's a lot to listen to, and it's going to set up, hopefully, our next one very nicely, I think.
Where we switch it all up and start doing
Reggae.
So, since we're talking about like changes and stuff, how do you think the critics have, I guess, responded to the changes?
You mean like between members or like with different albums?
The music itself.
The music itself, pretty positively, I believe, at least locally. Of course, I feel like it's easier to do locally at the same time. I think if we were in a bigger market, or if we had a bigger demographic, a larger audience, I think you'd see a lot more mixed reviews. But generally locally, very positive. Obviously, I think a lot of people take into account the fact that we've changed a lot of members too. So, but the first 3 we didn't. So, I don't know. I guess that's not fair. But yeah, it's always been positive. We didn't get a chance to really promote Venom and Pride a whole lot, and Fables really either too much to a few, to a handful of media, but not too much. Actually, the bulk of really good reviews, or at least in-depth ones that we've garnered, have probably been for politics, and that's kind of when we had the most time to get things together. Like I said, Venom and Pride, people weren't really concentrating on things so much, so that album could have spent more time in the appropriate people's hands than I think it did. And then Fables, we released on the schedule, and we did a great job, but we didn't have a whole lot of time to promote that at all, at least not before the release. So we got out to a handful of people, but I guess it's all beside the point. Yes, generally speaking, the reviews have been positive, even on a fan level, even with fans who've been with us since the beginning, since 2005 on Plan B. We have a few fans that are aware of the music and like the sound that we're producing still, and they realize that from Fables to Plan B, from Last Chance to For You All, for example, yeah, very, very different. Yeah, to Poor Boy, Last Chance to Poor Boy, a very, very different sound, extremely different. But they recognize it still is us. That might be because of my vocals, but I feel like there's something there still, that kind of signifies our sound. I feel like even outside of that, but I could be wrong. I'm getting away from the question, I think, a little bit, so I'll pass this on to Dan.
Okay, reiterate the question just again to make sure, because I was riding his train there. Oh yeah, the critics. Yeah, it's interesting if you read into some of the bigger publications for reviews like Westward and things like that, when they've taken the time to do it. There's overall, sometimes it's very comprehensive, sometimes it's very favorable, other times it's just a little blurb, and it's hard to tell whether they're just like, okay, well, I'll just do this blurb because I'm either not connecting with it or I don't like it, or if they just get into this longer, more a longer like backbeat section where I get 2.5 pages or whatever it was, then it seems like there's definitely motion there. There's definitely favor there, but it's hard to tell. I really don't know.
I haven't seen much plain negativity about anything. It's like people may not prefer some of the songs on the record, but that particular record being so diverse, like everyone has like a track where they're like, yeah, man, that track was awesome, and it's totally different than everything else on the record. So everyone's finding something in it seems, Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's been generally very positive, which is great.
Yeah, and even my own criticism of the music, there's times when I'm listening to stuff like, wow, that's incredible, and listening from song to song, that's just amazingly diverse. Where the hell were we coming up with this? I mean, it's not like it doesn't feel necessarily out of left field, but it definitely is incredibly diverse. You can definitely hear so many different styles, and I wonder how much critics actually think about that. I'd like to get their feedback on that.
I just like that they can find something that they like, amongst it, but that's. Yeah, never mind. I don't want to get off into the whole how we.
It's complicated, but we all feel, I think, that it's a strong effort, and I don't know. I loved how that whole album turned out. And I love how diverse it is, and I'm excited for the next one, for that matter. I imagine you'll see something different yet again, because the new album, that will entirely be the three of us. So it's going to be substantially different, even from Fables, where Fables had, a few other people with input. This one will be just us. So if there ever was an album to reflect who the band is, it would be this one coming up.
This one coming up, so does that mean there is one in the works?
Yes, there is, as a matter of fact. Absolutely. No name for it yet. That's how early in the works it is. No release date either. So what we're doing right now is actually writing music. And that's what we've been spending the bulk of our time. Well, that's what we will be spending the bulk of our time doing. We just played one huge show, and we regrouped after that, and we've met up a few times to write. But now we're going to concentrate more efforts in that direction. So it's coming up, and we've given ourselves a timeline, and we're working toward it, and we're positive and ready to go forward. But I'm not sure when we're going to release it, because we've got a few songs we've worked on. I think we got two or three songs that are fairly solid, but we want to release a full album, so we're probably looking at least 10, if not more. Of course, we would need to have enough songs that we could pare them down, to the best of the bunch. So yeah,
a lot of writing coming up. Yeah,
a lot of writing. Just gonna lock ourselves in the studio.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing that.
Yeah, look for a new album 2015. Hopefully we'll stay in touch. We'll shoot it to you.
Sweet. I'm excited about that, actually.
Us
um, what is your usual songwriting process? Since we're talking
Complicated.
about it.
Lots of heavy drinking. It's
It's not always, just sometimes.
yeah. I'm not sure if we have like a usual songwriting process. I wish that we did. It might be better if we did. Maybe not. We tend to. Somebody might have an idea. Or we jam a lot and we come up with ideas that way. I think some of our best efforts. I don't know if they've been through. I think they've had like just a spot of it, like the smallest seed of an idea, the barest germination of this idea, this form, and then it grows from there. I think those are kind of I feel like those are some of our best songs, but I could be wrong. There's been a couple that have been written in advance, but generally speaking, it's very free form. We don't have one person necessarily who's producing everything. Sometimes Dan will have an idea. Sometimes I will have an idea. Sometimes we'll play something to jam wise, and Alex will offer his input and usually help us write the song even then. So
he's written beats that we've written music around.
Right.
So.
But he's also very vocal too. So whereas he doesn't pick up a guitar, he does go, well, how about we try something like this? And we try to make sure that everybody's ideas are heard and valid. And for that matter, everybody here can write music, and everybody understands at the very least what they like and what could sound good based upon everybody's particular talents. I feel like so it is a pretty nice group to be in, because everybody can kind of feel the same message in a song, generally speaking. So what is the songwriting process? Who knows? It changes all the time, but
this happens. There's always the point, like 4 months into jamming one jam where something gets put together and it's like, oh my God, that's going to be a song, and then it gets even harder trying to fine tune the song and round out the edges and everything. But yeah, the majority of what we do is just jamming from scratch. But I don't think that's where we get the majority of our better songs. I think you're right. Like riffs come into the studio and we build around that, or beats like Dan said, or yeah, it comes from all over the place. There's no set rules. It's fun.
We don't turn down any ideas, or at least we try not to. I mean, there's obviously some ideas that people would prefer over others, but it's more of, is there a song there? And our goal is just to write a song and write the best song that we can write, regardless of genre. I think generally speaking, you can see most everything fit somewhere within a rock category, but I like to think that we can branch out a little bit. I could be wrong. I feel like Come Home's a little less rock. It is. Even, denouement and intermezzo, like that's substantially different. Yeah, that one's substantially different.
That one's a good example. Okay, that was one that I wrote with Dave.
This one's off of
Politics, and that's the only song that I really wrote off there. I mean, I wrote bridge for a couple other things and stuff here and there, and definitely contributed to the fine tuning of the songs on Politics of Apathy. But that was one song that I did write, and that's probably why it's a little bit why it's out of left field. So
yeah, so we I don't know, we just set out to try to write good music, however that might happen, and I don't know, just keep our nose to the grindstone, keep working.
So, who have you been compared to then?
And a lot of different people, a lot of different bands, and probably some that would be surprising, some that are surprising to us, some whose names obviously I cannot recall. We've been compared to lots of different people. Panic at the Disco, we've been compared to AFI, at least on one occasion, Muse. Who else has been like a surprising comparison?
We've been compared to Radiohead.
Surprising.
There's a show, or not show. Sorry, there's a site called musicmap.com, music-map.com, which is pretty cool, and it's a great place for discovering music. And I typed this in there, and I think Radiohead came up on that one, which is kind of cool. There might have been a couple more. I need to look at that again. I might look at that before we stop, so I can tell you some of the other. At least some of the algorithms that are out there that are saying what we sound like. So, but yeah, there's definitely Muse came up on that one too. And
who else? I swear that there's somebody I'm missing that we get compared to every once in a while. That's always surprising to me. I know Foo Fighters happens on occasion.
I don't know. We kind of get reviews all across the board. Generally speaking, again, even like our music, I believe most comparisons fit nicely in a rock category, but yeah, we get comparisons everywhere. Harvey Danger, that's weird.
10 folds, 5. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Actually, I have no idea where that's coming from. We're looking at Music Map right now. I don't know.
I have to tell you though, my favorite was when you were compared to Slipknot on Heartbreaker.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
That was nicely handled.
I don't recall. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but I do remember that being a big fiasco, where people were very upset.
I don't remember that either.
I think it's on the Heartbreaker video, actually, right? Is it on the
Yeah,
YouTube video?
it's the Heartbreaker.
We do get a lot of our influence from Corey Taylor and Slipknot. And you can hear it. You can hear it in songs like "Come Home" and "Last Chance." And, you know, we have to find a way to express our hatred and and our general willingness to destroy life. And anyway, yeah, it's not that far away from home, actually.
So, since we're on the topic of online, what do you think about online sharing?
Like sharing
What
music.
specifically do you mean by online sharing? Do you mean like piracy or like torrents or peer-to-peer, or are you talking about like free music or online distribution, or what do you mean?
He's got a good point.
Yeah, do you ever give your music away?
Oh yeah. But I mean, it's not necessarily the way to do it. I just feel like the smart move, unfortunately, and I think that the industry begs it, just in the way things are currently, you need to give your music away for free.
Until you have a reason for people to really want to pay for your music, until you're really well known, and then it's like, then you can charge for your music. But if you charge for your music and no one knows who the hell you are, it's like, cool, you'll make 5 cents every couple weeks, but what the hell is the point? You're stopping people from listening to your music intentionally when you don't have a strong enough fan base to actually make real money selling it.
Heck,
Right.
people with the fan base are in that same exact same thing. So like, it's, if you don't give your music away, if you don't share it and make your merchandise and your presence and your live shows and all these other things and branding and other things part of your income, then I mean, everybody's going to steal your music anyways. Trent, that's what Trent Reznor's been all about lately. He's like, you know what, I'm going to give my music away because they're going to take it whether we like it or not. It's going to happen. So let's give it to him, and then we'll give him a beautiful live show and make some money off of that, and they charge reasonably for that. He's got a lot of really cool policies about live shows and who gets in front rows and things like that and they make sure so that they're not scalping tickets and things like that, so that it's actually the fans that are there, it's the fans that are enjoying the show, and he's giving the music away to everybody to enjoy. So I think there's something to be said for that, personally.
Yeah, I think it's pretty smart. Just to summarize, to remove obstacles from people being able to get to your music, which the music is the major selling point. You know, it's the gateway, and then after that, then you, like Alex said, like Dan said, then you play a fantastic live show, hopefully sell some merchandise. But the big deal is you want people to hear your music, and you don't want people to give up on you, because you have, just like a split second for people, to generate interest on any given web page. And you want to have that music front and center and be available for download immediately, and hopefully get some people to have it, in their iPod, and maybe share it with some people. If people even have iPods anymore, have it on their iPhone, have it in a phone, have it wherever people put music.
On their Pandora or whatever it is.
On their Pandoras, on their Spotifys, their Rhapsodies. Yeah, have it available so that way everybody can hear it. There's no point in blocking that, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not for everybody. I think everybody operates to some degree on a different level. I just feel like that's smartest. We all feel like that, obviously, which is good.
Yeah.
Fewer arguments.
Yeah. No, man, well, $20 for a CD. Yeah.
What is your favorite music promotional site and why?
Like the big, it was like the big three all have good points: Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I think the funnest to use is YouTube. Yeah. It's the most difficult to put content on because it takes a lot more time to generate that content. But making content for YouTube is delightful. I think that YouTube is just so much fun. Facebook sometimes can feel like a chore. I like the connectivity it provides. I like being able to communicate with fans immediately on Facebook. I just dislike feeling like I have to be there all the time, which you really should, and we need to, and we're actually beefing that back up. And then Twitter, I still am not 100% familiar with, but I've had a lot more conversations, like with you, Angel, on there. So I'm getting more familiar with it and about how to use it correctly, or at least to the best of its ability. But I'd have to say, for me, YouTube is the coolest site to use. And then, of course, there's a bunch that are around there, like Reverb Nation, Made Loud we're on, and I still like that page quite a bit. What else? I can't think of any other pages.
It's interesting because YouTube is the most fun, and usually I will go to YouTube if I know there's a great video of one of the songs that I want to listen to. But Bandcamp, Groove Shark is one that I've been using a lot lately. And the thing about those, and specifically Bandcamp and Last.fm, is that at least with those sites, when you listen to new music, you're listening in decent to great sound quality. And on YouTube, sometimes sound quality is lost. It's a crapshoot. If it's a really popular band, it's like, yeah, if you listen to it, it's going to sound great. Obviously, it's MIDI, so how great can it sound? But it's going to sound great. But sometimes, especially with local bands and with smaller bands and stuff, you get really bad quality. And it depends who uploads the video that you like, too. So it's difficult. It's difficult to go there for listening, but for viewing, it's by far the most fun.
The only audio codec you're allowed to upload any video with is a really shitty one. It's like H.264 or I don't know what the hell that is, honestly. All I know is it's really bad. So it doesn't matter what you're uploading, how good the quality is, it's not going to be great going into YouTube. But still, I love making videos.
Yeah.
Listen to vinyl. Vinyl is the only way to listen to music in its like full, intended form. But yeah. Well, sure, yeah. It's really
New digital form.
But you can't listen to that through the computer, and you asked about online. So yeah, YouTube is probably the most fun for us to put stuff on and to enjoy music through, I think.
I've definitely found on YouTube that there are a lot of people that are uploading full albums of bands in high quality, and it sounds good. You can just pop it on and do whatever you're doing and listen. And it's even more common to see that happening too. So people aren't reverting to the shuffle features of different music sites like whatever the Spotify and all those things are. I don't know exactly which ones, but
YouTube has playlists,
yeah,
so you can just click on
YouTube has playlist he was talking about. I don't know if you could hear that in the background, but yeah, YouTube has playlists and things like that. It's America. YouTube I think is going to be is an incredible one for sure. I like the idea of some of these apps that are out there that you can have on either Android or iPhone and just be able to listen to bands that you like and listen to similar bands and discover new music. Those are pretty cool too. In fact, some of them I think are worth the money you pay for them.
Pandora.
Yeah, like those ones. Yeah, I'm not totally sure exactly how they all work, but yeah, the ad thing kind of bugs me, especially if well, unless you have ad block on your browser, which I do, which is nice. So
yeah, so
internets,
yeah. They'll have their better points. I feel like Twitter's better for immediate conversations, and it gets less cluttered. When you have conversations on Facebook, then it's like a chat room, and some people get annoyed and they leave. But Twitter, you can just have personal conversations with everybody, and people can join in or not. It seems like it's easier there. Facebook is like the go-to, so everybody knows you on Facebook, and they wait for new content, and they can share it with their friends. So it's important. It's a very important resource. But again, YouTube is my favorite, and there's lots of different ways, like we talked about Bandpage. Bandcamp, Last.fm, like a bunch of places. CD Baby, I'm there all the time. CD Baby, and that one's less so of a social spot more than it is. Like you can refer people there, but Reverb Nation. There's lots of different places. They all have their finer points. I don't know.
We try to be on all of them.
Well, we are. Okay. I would say. I put a lot of work in to make sure we're at least on sites.
Are we on SoundCloud? I don't think we're on SoundCloud.
Oh my God, we're not. Of course we're on SoundCloud.
I wasn't sure.
Go ahead and visit SoundCloud, man. I'm crazy on SoundCloud. I've taken time to tag everything and put all information up. So yeah, everything's fleshed out, and it does take a lot of time. And they tell you to just pick one, but there's
a lot of them.
It's difficult for me to narrow to narrow the job down, especially since I have time at work to do it. So I tend to just do everything. But
and not everybody listens.
I forgot about SoundCloud, but yeah, we are on it.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's another one. And SoundCloud, and every one of those sites also develops new things, especially the ones that are geared more toward musicians. Seems like Facebook at one time was trying to be more of a musician hub, and I think it's kind of steering away from that in some ways. It's now more of just an all-around general business hub. But like some places like SoundCloud, for example, or Bandcamp, those are more like musician hubs. It's like this is where you go to hang out, give away music. Bandpage isn't so much for fans, but they have a lot of stats there, which is very important. Which I actually forgot to mention. Bandpage, I visit there at least once, or Bandcamp, excuse me. I visit there at least once a day, just to take a look at our stats.
X-Hamster.
I'm always like.
There there a few times a day.
Yeah, you guys are big fans of lemonparty.org too, I think, right? That's right.
What's the,
This is where we.
what's the other one? Goatsy. That's one I.
Oh, geez, no.
No takers. That's how you know who the freak is. I mean, anyway, but seriously, shake that bear.
So, obviously, all of these places is where everybody can find you.
Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere. Go search Slices I Admire. It's crazy. I think we're like the first 8 pages. Yeah, maybe the first 1.5.
When I Googled your band name, I got the reference to Sir Winston Churchill.
Really?
But you don't have a Wikipedia page.
We don't.
I'll tell you what, Wikipedia.
We've tried.
Wikipedia is there. Wikipedia has gone in the opposite direction. It used to be that everybody and anybody could post anything about anything, and now they make it incredibly hard to do, even for legitimate sources. So even though we do, yeah, it's almost more difficult for legitimate sources to actually get your page published. And I've been working on this, and I've been trying with other people, and we've been trying for a long time to get it to happen, and we've had page uploads that have gotten denied over and over because of references, even though the references are legitimate according to their needs. So it's weird. I don't know how I feel about that. It's some cool information on there, but I don't know that.
I don't know if there's a reason for it, honestly. I just don't know what the reason for Wikipedia would be unless you do have like some kind of a mass interest, and that's probably what's stopping a lot of people. Like I don't think you can search your local high school band and find a Wikipedia page, but you can find one for Radiohead, because other people write it for them. And that's the thing, is they want people to write it for you. And the more close you are to the actual source, it's like the harder it is to get them online. So I've heard.
I've done searches on bands that are newer, that were smaller than us, that didn't last as long and have stopped playing, and they have Wikipedia pages, local bands comparatively speaking. So
What's the point?
it's actually something that you can reference for like Electronic Press Kit and references, those kind of things.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you know anything about Wikipedia?
I
just don't know what the draw is. Like, why do we have to have a Wikipedia page?
I mean, it would be nice to have one. Do we have to have one? Obviously, we're muddling through at the moment. But
Wikipedia is definitely useful for me when I discover bands and I want to know what their discography is when they release something, what the song tracks are, and that kind of thing. That helps me a lot with referencing that, and that's one of the things I wish we had.
It's better organized than reading a biography on a band's website. It's very well organized, which is nice. You can click on discography, track listing, personnel, that kind of thing, and that really helps. So I guess that would be one reason to have it.
would be nice. Plus, our website needs to be worked on anyway.
Yeah,
but I try to keep our bio updated at the very least, or at least up to date in as much as discography and last meaningful or important events. And so we have Fables on there, I think, was the last thing, which obviously it's been like over a year since then. But I mean, still the bio is kind of our Wikipedia page for all intents and purposes. It lists all the members as well as anything released and any pertinent information, I feel like. But yes, a Wikipedia page would be great. As far as I know, you need to have, like, it's interesting to have like just 3 or 4 requirements, something like that. You need to have made an impact somehow, been written up in some reputable journals. Not that the ones we've been written in aren't reputable, but larger ones, like more national size kinds of music rags, and or you need to like have been on a tour, opening up for somebody, or maybe have been on a label, even if it's like an independent label, but something that you can verify, of which we have done none of those. So obviously we suck. But
we suck. That's why we're not on Wikipedia.
That's not true.
we can try to put that article on there. Vices I admire. They suck.
They suck. That's the first thing it says. They suck. Needs referencing. Citation needed. Oh wait, no, we have plenty of citations for that. Never mind.
Vices I admire.
It's like a video of us. No. We know it's true. We fucking suck. We're a joke. But it's okay. They try hard,
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. They're so brave.
They just don't give up. They're so weird.
Yeah, we are weird. We are awkward and weird. That's something that definitely embodies us. If you haven't discovered that already through this.
This is actually awesome. I'm enjoying this immensely.
News. That's good.
It's funny because I play sweetest girl every single show I have.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
So I do. I play you guys in every single show that I have. So
Wow, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
that's a lie. So I'm just going to have to find
Oh.
someone to get your Wikipedia page up.
We could generate something. Everybody's got to start some ridiculous website that just has all this information on it so we can reference it. I don't know.
I don't know how it
I've
works.
thought
Who
about that.
knows?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I think you've done pretty well on your Facebook page, though, with your biography.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you
Ladies and gentlemen.
do you have any advice for new bands?
Give up now.
While you're at it, don't do it. Run away.
Yes, it is difficult. I feel like my advice isn't terribly important to like a band that's starting out. Since I mean, in some ways we're still at the same level because we are kind of starting out in some ways.
Every
Right?
day. They put us back to the starting line every day.
I would say that's the most important thing is to stay positive. Surround yourself with like-minded people if you can, and find a way to promote yourself every single day. Whether it's online or whether it's in person, you got to stand out. So you got to do your best to move your music against the mass. And there's so many musicians out there, and there for that matter, no matter who's making music, if it's it's Joe Schmo on the corner like hitting a tin can with a wiener. Like somebody is recording that and is in love with the music that he's making.
It's probably a hipster. But yeah.
It's probably a hipster. But I mean, it's like somewhere there's an audience for you. It might be slightly more difficult for you to find your audience sometimes. But as long as you stay positive and keep moving your music, you're gonna find them. So I'd say stay positive, keep working hard, don't quit school, don't go into music,
Don't go into music.
get a nice degree, and first make a lot of money, and then go into music.
There's one thing.
One thing that I always come back to, but I don't know. I guess it does apply to bands starting out, and it's something that I notice even with bands that are like successful that completely blows my mind. So maybe this isn't legitimate advice. I should stop talking. Anyway, no, it's don't turn down, don't be above anything. As far as if you get booked, if you're just starting out and you get booked at a really shitty place, don't be above that. If you get approached by people that want to do something with you that you're not necessarily interested in what they do, don't be above that. If you, I don't know, any opportunity, take it, and don't be above anything. And it seems to me like sometimes even successful bands here locally, like somehow they got successful, but they purposefully decide not to try in a lot of different areas and to not care about, certain people and to intentionally ignore certain scenes and stuff like that. And that to me kind of blows my mind. But I think if you want to have a chance at like long-term success, you network and you do everything you can whenever it's presented to you. It's I think that's vital in the long run, at least.
And that's all good advice. I would say on another aspect of that would be important is to strive to own your craft. There's a lot of people out there that are quote unquote musicians that have, they're more about the image, or they're more about the scene under what they're doing rather than actually what they're doing. And what it does is it devalues the actual people who try hard, the people who actually own their craft, the people who take time to hone their skills. And it makes it difficult when there's mass amounts of people, a lot of people doing it with shitty quality, to actually stand out because there's just so much out there. So by the time that person would come across your music, they're like, oh no, it's another shitty local band, or it's another just crappy band. And then their ears are tired from hearing all this crap, so...
The taking opportunities thing, it's like you never know what's going to come, and you never know what opportunities you miss by turning down things, and you never know who you're going to ever meet and talk to. So that's certainly important. And like you're talking about honing your craft and everything, it's like I don't know, I was going to say something and I totally lost it. So yeah.
Yeah. Make music, don't stop. The worst thing you can do if you want to make it is quit.
True. It's true.
So make it, I don't know. However you define success. I mean, in some ways we've been very successful. It'd be nice if we could just do music, which we don't. We have to have day jobs, so it'd be nice if we could do that.
Yeah.
I would feel so completely successful if all we had to do was make music all day.
Like an ideal world, we would sit all year round and just write, record, and release music and play a few shows, and our bills would be paid for, and we could do whatever we wanted, and we wouldn't have to pander, and we wouldn't have to spend time with other stuff, and I don't know, just writing music.
That would be a magical world.
That's the best thing. That's the best feeling when you complete an album, and then like you were saying earlier, you listen to it, you're like, holy shit, we did that, If we could do that all the time and pay our bills with it, that would be success, I think.
Maybe one of these days. I've heard that music is heading the way that that it used to be for like actors in movies, where there was that, there was a big switch where, it was hard to like find support for the arts in that area, and hard for people to support themselves. And then like there was a switch, and I don't remember what it was. Some kind of laws arose, and who knows, new technologies probably. So I'm holding on for that new tech and maybe new laws, so that people like us who dedicate the bulk of their lives anyway to something that they love could potentially see some money out of it. But of course, I'm not holding out hope. All I want to do now is write an album.
Yeah, baby steps is what we've been saying a lot lately.
Baby steps. Make it through the next rehearsal.
Baby steps to the door. Baby steps to the. Have you seen What About Bob with Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss?
A long time ago.
It's on your list. Rewatch it. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Fantastic movie.
That
What
and
about Bob? Okay.
yeah, and the Firefly series.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Serenities. Yeah, I mean, watch that movie. Have you seen Serenity?
I have seen Serenity.
Do you love it?
I did. I liked it, but I'm not too keen on this
You
show.
didn't love it?
No.
It's
I
been
said I
good
liked
chatting
it.
with you.
I said I liked it. I
I didn't need it. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh goodness! Right now it's the Lego Movie.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Movie.
Right now it is.
It's cool when you're part of a team.
Everything is awesome.
This is my jam.
This is my jam. What's your favorite movie? Dan?
I don't have a favorite movie. I have lots of favorite movies.
Just pick one.
Fight Club, top.
Hey, that's in the top.
That's a
10.
fantastic movie.
Pulp Fiction, top 3, I think.
Stiff Upper Lips is also in my top 10.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's an abstract one. It's on Netflix now.
No. It's a weird 70s porno featuring women that have mustaches. It's called Stiff Upper Lips.
Okay, I just vomited in my mouth a little bit. That was awful. that was a great picture you painted there, buddy. Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I've ran out of questions.
No more questions.
You answered
Ask
them
another
all.
one so that we don't have to end with that.
Just something you're curious about. Anything at all.
Okay, your
Answer it.
hobbies. What are your hobbies?
Okay, I'll let Dan start.
No.
He's got no. You've got the most interesting ones.
Really? I do? What are my hobbies? I would say first and foremost, stocking. I don't know.
Collecting bits of string.
Bits of string and toenails. No. I don't know. I definitely enjoy biking. I've been getting back into biking. The real hobbies. It's just, I'm making a suit out of human skin. That's always a. That's true. Yeah, I do photography, and I do a bit of woodworking and handy stuff here and there. Other than the man suit thing, God, that's just disgusting, man. All right, so yes, we as a band, do we have any unison hobbies that we all do? No, we don't. We should.
Watching TV and movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And drinking. Yeah, we have gone, but we need to do that again. Yeah, but photography and biking, I guess, are kind of my hobbies. So
I like me some graphic design, learning stuff and things. I don't know. I'm not sure what else to say. That's it. My hobbies suck. I spent a lot of time in front of the computer. I've been studying, actually, and Alex and I've been working on too, but like a video work. We've been trying to help people out with that. So that's been, I guess that is a hobby. I'm not really making any money doing it. So technically, I think music is a hobby.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, music. First.
We're a business, but I think the state would consider this an expensive hobby.
As far as
how much money
go.
we make. So music, video, graphic. I love graphic design. Like I really love that. It's been a while since I've made a sexy poster. That reminds me, time for me to do one. What else? I would say I like to read, but like the bulk of everything I read these days is just like online articles. And I read a lot, but it's mostly about like sound design. I've been studying that. I mean, Dan does a lot, so he helps me out too. But I've been trying to learn my own a little bit more there. Taking some classes online from Coursera and Udemy, so things like that. Web design. I've been studying that pretty heavily because we're going to revamp the site, and I get to do it. I'm excited about that. All these things take up a lot of time, though, and they're definitely hobbies, but I love them. What else do I like to do? I like to do other stuff. I have no idea. This is terrible. I shouldn't be talking right now. Apparently, I've run out of steam. Your turn.
Yeah, I like reading too. When I read, it's usually nonfiction stuff.
Civil War.
Yeah, no, history, literally Civil War memoirs. Okay, I thought you were joking.
I wasn't joking.
Yeah, Civil War stuff, history stuff, political stuff, especially autobiographies and novels, and usually it's nonfiction. I used to be a really big fiction nerd when I was like little, but lately that's all I can really do is that because I like learning stuff. I'm kind of a cinephile, so I watch a shitload of movies, and so does Dave. Dave watches weird ones, but I like watching good ones.
Creepy horror movies.
Yeah, horror movies. Dave and I are just absolutely crazy on horror.
Oh my god.
Haunted houses. I usually visit like 5 or 6 of those every year, so we're all Halloween freaks. Yeah, biking. I like to do outdoorsy stuff sometimes, but you can tell I haven't gone outside at all this summer. Not even once. Have gone outside.
Yeah, I wish this video could be recorded.
I'm sorry.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, have you seen that movie I posted on our page?
Did you see the trailer for
the Babadook? Yeah, I have. I'm intrigued by that. But have you seen? Do you like horror movies at all, Angel?
I used to. I used to watch like a lot of Stephen King and stuff like that. But that movie that you posted looks extremely freaky, and I think I would spend a lot of time on the floor hiding behind the chairs. Honestly,
it sounds like you need to attend a Vice I Admire horror movie marathon.
Oh, I don't know.
Last year, Dave literally stayed up 24 hours. He started, it was after midnight, but he started after midnight one day, went to after midnight the next day, and I thought that would be kind of cool, and I just kind of watched him do it and participated occasionally, but he turned into this really, really irritable, scary, like pale, half-drunken, half-crazed maniac doing it. And so I don't actually ever want to participate in one of those myself. And I don't watch him do it either. It wasn't pleasant at all. He actually started choosing movies towards the end that weren't even in the horror realm and then convinced himself that they were. He was so out of his goddamn mind. And since his mind was so riddled with bullshit that day after staying up for 24 hours and not knowing where he was, he still thinks that the movies he was watching were horror movies, but they really weren't. That's all I have to say about that.
This is a rant for the Facebooks.
Yeah, we all enjoy movies quite a bit, so yeah, we're all cinephiles in our own individual rights, so yeah, we definitely, that is something we do share. That's a hobby we share.
Movies are really cool. We all like to watch movies sometimes.
But the one thing I've noticed that we do quite a bit, very often together, is watch movies.
I actually disagree with that.
And this is how we write music, by the way, too.
But don't forget, though, going back, we are starting to get more and more into video creation and editing and design and stuff like that. And yeah, so we're planning on creating some lyric videos for all of the stuff we have coming up, as well as a lot of old songs, music videos in general, which are always a struggle because we're on zero budget. So it's always a matter of being creative with little time, little budget, little, everything. And we try to do a lot of that as well. So that's in the works. We're going to be getting better and better at that, I hope so.
I'm also a fan of video games. I haven't had a whole lot of chance to play them, but I do like me some video games. Not
I
gonna
would
lie.
second that. I enjoy my video games too, but I'm very specific about mine. So,
He likes World of Warcraft.
God, no, I don't.
What? What?
You love that.
And one time I enjoyed it, but that was a long time ago.
I just
You-
recently
what do you
stopped
mean
my
is he was
subscription.
You stopped your subscription?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually you have to, right? Otherwise you're never going to.
I know, right?
You can choose one life, and World of Warcraft is one of those choices. You can either choose World of Warcraft or the real world. You know?
I'm kind of the go-to point man for Halo and Call of Duty and really any shooting games. Dave and John, who was our roommate for quite a while here at our band house, usually come to me to learn such video games because I'm such a gamer.
What he means to say is he doesn't play many video games. So he would just as likely shoot himself in the foot as he would an enemy. It's a delightful plan. I'm sorry, this is... That's all I get. That's all we have for hobbies.
Your upcoming remix of Union sounds like a video game soundtrack almost.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't it?
I could see that. Yeah.
First person kind of like...
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Not in a bad way either.
No, it's going to be really unique. Keep your eyes peeled for that. That's one of the ones that's going to come soonest as far as one of our next releases. And it's nothing like anything Vices has ever done, but it is a Vices song kind of transformed. It's going to be very, very cool.
Remixed by Daniel Battenhouse here.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it too. Hopefully I don't fuck it up now.
We're all very excited.
So we're gonna play a little bit of the. Tell us if you can or can't hear, but we're gonna play a little bit of this remix of the Union, which is a song off of the album you were talking to us about, which is Venom and Pride.
Skip like
Gonna breathe it out when it's not enough for guys. So let me play my part. Promises, bro.
I don't know if you could hear any of that.
I did, and it sounds awesome.
The next album is going to be a dubstep tribute.
Awesome.
Definitely speak up in that case. That fucking sucks. I always knew Vices I admire was headed to shit. That's a little quote Mickey used to say. One bad thing to another. Yep. Alrighty, there you go. That's interesting. That's kind of fun. Is it nice to bust that out, let people hear it? All right.
And thank you for that. That was awesome. I'm excited about it coming out.
Yeah, me too. We're all excited to come out too. One of these days we'll come out.
Yeah. Try that one in the closet as well.
Our secret infatuation with EDM. Pictures of us at clubs with like lighted bracelets on.
Tassels and pink furry boots, tripping on ecstasy, licking sweat off each other.
And that's before the concert.
Okay.
Boy.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Angel.
That was
This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. We appreciate it tremendously.
We appreciate the research, and it was a blast. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very nice of you to take the time. That's very cool. Very professional too. And there's a lot to it. So like some bands just starting out, a couple years old. There's not a whole lot to them, but there's a lot. This band's been around for a while, so there's a lot to it. So thanks for taking the time to check it out.
Definitely, we enjoyed it tremendously.
Thank you for taking the time out for me. And this is Angel Nolan signing off from Slam and Tunes.
with a crown. Well, he was the last to know. Oh yeah. She said, surely nice, surely be nice for you to come with me. Say, I know I got a love like a star you can hardly see. But I'm on fire for you. So plastic dreams and paper smiles. She studied the wonderless world and dreamed only a little while. She said, surely nice, surely be nice if you would come to me. I know I got a love like a star you can hardly see.